So, the objective of retiring early is a very popular topic here on YouTube, and it's for good reason. In my opinion, the message behind early retirement isn't that you want to be lazy and sit on a couch all day. It's simply that you're able to have agency over one's own life. When you're financially independent, you don't have to go to work every day. You don't have to do things you don't want to do just in order to generate an income. You're financially independent. And what that then allows you to do is one, have complete control over your life, and two, focus on passion projects and passion businesses, stuff that actually brings meaning to your life. So, financial independence is what I'm all about, and this whole channel is about how to invest and build wealth in order to achieve financial independence and retiring early. The sad truth about all this is that the vast majority of average people will never achieve this early retirement. Although, if you're watching a financial education video on YouTube, you're probably one of the select few that actually might achieve this. So, let me explain why. Okay, so this article is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I like this graph right here. So, this is simply income and expenditures by age in 2013. So, this dark blue line is income, and the light blue line is expenditures. And over time, people tend to earn more and more income, which is a great thing. However, we can see that almost in line with the increase in income is an increase in this light blue line, which is expenditures. And this is what's known as lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation. So as people increase their level of income, their lifestyle also increases, usually in step with their income, but sometimes even faster than their level of income growth. And that's when debt comes into play. Now, at this point, there's a major fork in the road, and you have to decide which path you're going to go down. So, a lot of people say that as you work harder and you have more income, your lifestyle should inflate because you only live once, so you might as well go out to eat, buy the fancy things, and keep up with the Joneses. And I'm not saying that's wrong. If that brings you happiness, that's something you should do. But just be intentional about it. Don't just do it because it's what everybody else does. Everybody has a fancy apartment, everybody has a new expensive car. That's a really bad reason to do anything. Everything you do in life has trade offs. And if you decide to go down the path of as you increase your income, you increase the quality of your life, there is a trade off with that. And the trade off is your time and ownership of it. If you spend everything you make, you're going to have to work until you die to sustain your lifestyle. That's the harsh reality. I choose to go down a different path. I'm a minimalist. I value my own time and control over it more than my social status to others. And I make sacrifices to accomplish that. So I live below my means. I don't have a fancy car. I don't eat out. I don't have fancy clothing, anything like that. And I choose to do that and build up my investment account in order to buy back ownership of my life. And that's what I value. So that's why I make the decisions that I do. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of person are you? What's valuable to you? And then you can make the appropriate decisions. Okay, but moving on into the topic of this video, this is what I'm going to be doing. So first, I'm going to look at some numbers of the average person's income and expenses. This is going to serve as a benchmark, and we can see where the average person is financially speaking. And then I'm going to go through the numbers again from a minimalist perspective and see where we can save money and see ultimately how that affects the final numbers and how you can retire. Okay, so first, what is the average income? So for people 25 to 34, the average annual income is $43,500. So that's the pool of money that we're going to begin deducting from. Here's a great overview of where your money goes in terms of expenses. So housing is the biggest expense at around 33%, followed by transportation at around 16%, then food, insurance, healthcare, and I'm going to call this other. Okay, so let's find some averages. So this is the average monthly apartment rent in the United States from 2017 to 2021, and it's split up into size of apartments. So here a studio is $929, one bedroom is $960 a month, two bedroom $1,100 a month, so on and so on. So for the purposes of this video, let's take the one bedroom, round it up, and say $1,000 of monthly rent is the housing expense. I don't know if this takes into consideration utilities, but that's also around $160 a month additional. The next major expense category was transportation, and here in the US, that is a vehicle. The average monthly car payment in the US is $563 for new vehicles, $397 for used, and $450 for leased vehicles. This is kind of shocking to me, but this is the average. So I'm going to go ahead and take 400 bucks as the average monthly car payment. But that's just the beginning because you also have car insurance. So here's a bunch of data on car insurance, and it does vary a lot by state and whether or not you have full or minimum coverage. So for cheap states, if you go for the minimum coverage, it can be as low as $35 per month, but that same coverage in more expensive states can be 200 bucks a month. So for monthly car insurance, I'm going to say an average is 150 bucks. And speaking of insurance, another major expense, at least here in the US, is healthcare insurance. This can also be quite expensive, but I'm going to take an average number of 450 bucks per month. Now, food was also another major expense, and I found this source that says the average food cost for a US household was $6,600 in 2013, which is roughly 2,600 bucks annually per person. The only issue I have with this is that 2,600 bucks is a food budget of 216 bucks per month per individual. And as mentioned, I'm a minimalist. I pride myself in not spending a lot of money, but I still spend about 400 bucks a month on food, and that's eating at home. I know lots of my friends easily spend over 1,000 bucks per month on food and takeout and all that kind of stuff. So 216 per month, I think is ridiculously cheap and unrealistic. So I'm going to use my number, which is 400 bucks per month in food. So here's what the numbers look like all together. The average income is 43,500 bucks. Housing is around 1,000 bucks plus 150 for utilities. Food is about 400 bucks per month per person. The average car payment is 400 bucks, car insurance 150, health insurance 450, and then I have other, which is everything else. This includes phone and internet, as well as entertainment, all these subscription services you have, buying clothing, all that kind of stuff. So here I put in 600 bucks per month. And this is how it all breaks down. So the annual income divided by 12 is 3,600 bucks a month in income, and then all these costs added together are $3,100 a month in expenses. So that leaves about 500 bucks per month for the average person to save to retire. So if we do some math here, that means the average person would need around 800,000 bucks at a 5% interest rate divided by 12 months in order to have roughly the same level of income in retirement. So about 800,000 bucks, if you can achieve a 5% interest rate, is the number you need if you want to maintain the current lifestyle that you have. And if you're only saving 500 bucks per month, that essentially means you cannot retire early. So something here needs to change. You can try to increase your monthly income, start a side hustle, get a new job, but the main thing we can control here is the monthly expenditures. Having that average $400 per month in a car payment is absolutely ridiculous. That's money that you should be investing every month instead. So you will have to give up having the latest model year car and having the latest iPhone in your pocket, all those kinds of things, if you want to achieve the goal of retiring early. If your time is more valuable than projecting social status, these are the kinds of trade-offs you have to make. And aside from auto debt, you should also avoid every kind of debt there is on the planet. Credit card debt, personal loan debt, auto debt, student loan debts. Going heavily into debt is actively going to work against you if you want to retire early. And there should be no reason to tap into debt if you're living well below your means like you should be. I mean, this was very shocking to me. So the overall average student loan payment is $393 per month. So you can see the issue that arises really fast if you have both auto debt, student loan debt, credit card debt, personal loans. It's a big mess and something that's really going to slow you down and increase the amount of money you need to retire. So in order to lower the amount of money you need to retire, you have to begin to tackle all of these spots. Food, unfortunately, there's no way to really get around that. If I find a way to not have to eat, I'll definitely let you guys know. But debt should be completely avoided unless you're using it in a business sense to generate more income. But the other category is where we can save a lot of money. So this is mostly entertainment, discretional spending, all the stuff that's not needed. A quick little example of this is a phone bill. So for one person from Verizon, plans are about 70, 80 bucks a month. Pretty typical stuff. But just with a little bit of research, you can go with a company like Mint Mobile and pay 15 bucks a month, 20 bucks a month. It might seem insignificant at first, but when you begin to do this with all of your monthly expenses and bills, you're going to quickly begin to save hundreds of dollars per month. Now, of course, the major expense here was housing at around 33% of an individual's income. And here is where we can potentially save a lot of money depending on how creative you get, if you're willing to make that trade off, of course, being able to retire early and having control over your life versus being comfortable now and projecting social success. So, an easy way to get this down is to have roommates. So, you can go on Craigslist, try to rent a room for just like $400 or $500 per month. That'll save you a lot of money. You can also do this with friends, which is probably a little bit better than going on Craigslist to find random people to live with. Or you can go down the path of tiny living. This is something that's becoming very trendy. There's tons of videos about it on YouTube, and people that choose to live in smaller, more affordable living situations in order to buy back some of their freedom and time. Even living in RVs is very popular because it's cheap and it allows the people to travel and really experience more of life. I don't know if you guys ever noticed this, but lots of expensive houses that are like $1 million, $2 million, the people that own them rarely spend time there. And it's because they're busy working to afford the big house that they can't spend any time in because they're busy working to pay for the house. You can see the issue in that situation, and it's why it's so important to be intentional about your decisions and know where you want to go. What path do you want to go down? I realize that not everybody wants to be a minimalist, and that's okay. I'm just saying if you want to retire early off of the bare minimum, you have to be aware of this and make conscious decisions to achieve it. So when it comes to myself, I calculated the bare minimum I need to retire is $300,000 with around a 5% dividend yield. That would give me an annual income of $15,000, and divided by 12, that'll be a monthly income of $1,250, which albeit is extreme and very low, but I plan on living an untraditional life. I want to travel around, maybe live in an RV for a little bit, or some kind of tiny house situation. And for me, $300,000 investment portfolio with about $1,250 a month in income is what I need to buy back my time personally. And if that number of $1,250 a month seems too unrealistic, keep in mind, the average Social Security payment is around $1,400 per month, and 40% of the population solely relies on Social Security to live every month. These are people that always lived above or at their means, and they never saved anything for retirement. So a huge portion of the population needs to live on a tight budget, which shows that it's possible. And again, I'm not going to sit on my butt and do nothing. I'm just going to have the time and the ability to focus on passion projects and businesses like this YouTube channel, which should ultimately generate some income, which is going to help out the situation. But it's not my main focus. I don't need to do things just for the income. But that's going to do it for this video. If you guys are still watching and enjoyed, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, all that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.